Three, two, one. All right, we are live. All right, on
Live?
YouTube anyway.
Live.
Welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for joining us. We've been saying for a while that we're going to try out simulcasting to Twitch and YouTube at the same time. So that's what we're doing again here this week. Maybe, we're not sure, but maybe today we'll combine. We've talked about chatting, we've talked about gaming. Well, heck, why don't we just do both tonight? So there's a pretty good chance that we will. We'll see how it all goes and what all happens, but we're just hanging out. I don't know. It might be an hour, might be 4 hours. It's Zack might show up. He might be dead. I haven't, it is what it is. So thanks for joining us. YouTube, we've been saying for a few weeks, we're going to give Twitch a few extra minutes at the beginning and end just as a perk because we're biased. So screw you, YouTube. But aside from that, so yeah.
Nothing. Just ignore me. Don't worry about
it. You're welcome, viewers. YouTube, you just stepped into this wonderful story about Jeff Bezos's latest and greatest breakup that Tim was going to spill for us. So
I spilled something else in the meantime, but no, the only thing Bezos
Tim's great at spilling.
No, I've just been dropping stuff pretty much my entire life. But no, Jeff Bezos. I think anybody else would know.
Bezos?
Just Jeffy.
We might get some audio here. My Rocket League is booting up, and I don't know. It might start playing through the Twitch stream, so that's cool.
Well, Jeff
Bezos. What about him?
Yeah, but Jefe Bezos. He was I don't know if he was cheating or if he was just sending text messages, but it was with a woman that was like, if you're an Amazon CEO, I would at least expect you to be going for a woman like half of your age, not like 2 years younger than you. Like it seems like a little bit of a waste, especially because it also looks like he got like jacked up on roids at some point in his life. Because you look at him like 20 years ago and he's this scrawny little fuck, and then now he's not huge now, but yeah, that was all there was to that. It was kind of a throwaway comment. And Daniel, who is completely lost on anything as far as pop culture.
It's true. I mean, there's so
that's
much.
Good. No, it's definitely good.
That I don't.
Even whenever I'll admit, even whenever I talk about it, it's stupid. But there's people that there's nothing that's talked about besides how whatever Bezos is doing.
What is the latest and greatest pop drama? Like, I mean, the last thing I heard was like freaking some Catholic boys were flipping off Trump or something.
What? You were so misinformed, sir. No,
that's what I heard. I don't know.
When was it? That was a while ago. No, the latest thing, it keeps coming up. Well, no, the big things, like, because you can call it political, but it's not really political. Nothing we do. Also, my latest episode I'm putting out for my podcast has a little bit to do with this too. But most of this stuff isn't political, just because it's all kind of dumb and it's mostly a popularity contest. But it seems like the Democrats have 1,900 different candidates, so they're all going to fuck themselves, and Trump's just going to win that again, which I should have gone with that bet before. I remember whenever Daniel took money from me. That's the big politics, whatever popular thing that everyone's like, oh my God. The only big thing right now is still did you hear about the Empire? I keep on thinking Entourage each time I hear about the story, but Empire television star, I believe that's what it is.
No clue.
Okay,
tell me, please.
A black gay actor in Chicago, I think, claimed a couple weeks ago that he was assaulted. He was assaulted by two white men wearing ski masks and "Make America Great Again" hats. They put a rope around his neck, dumped bleach on him, and said and yelled, "This is MAGA country," and then ran away. And now, because after the police went, oh, let's investigate this, it turns out that he paid two Nigerian bodybuilder brothers to fake an attack, and he was going to try to do some kind of publicity stunt with this. Now he's being charged with a crime because he tried to create like a fake a fake crime. He's going with the option of saying that he was doing it to try to drum up kind of.
So was he actually a Trump dude, or did he just say that?
No, he's an anti-Trump dude. He again, and this is another thing, goes back to the Democrats having 1,700 different candidates. A bunch of people tweeted about afterwards. They were like, again, he's a black gay actor. So immediately everyone's like, this is a modern day lynching, and is what's the word that it's not pervasive. It's like it's a word. It's typical. It means that, but it's way more douchey of a way to say that. It's like, this is endemic, or this is whatever of our times right now. We need to figure out what is going on.
Indicative.
Yes, indicative. This is indicative of our time. Endemic.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hmm?
I've just been thinking, like, how many stories are there, like the freaking Catholic boys, or like this criminal dude, whatever, or like, or like, whatever freaking person walks into a restaurant with a MAGA hat and gets himself kicked out. Like anyone could do that. Like someone from the left could wear a MAGA hat and just start punching people, and it would be a huge thing on the news, and everyone would think it was a Trump supporter punching people. Like that's just how dramatic everything has become. So much so that, like, I don't care about any of it.
Yeah,
Am I wrong?
Yeah, nothing matters right now besides people that say something if they have a blue check mark next to their name on Twitter and a picture. That was the thing with the Catholic boys, those sweet little Catholic boys, which are somehow like they're just fighting back. Like, you have to leave a kid at a Catholic school alone with all those priests. But the big issue, and everybody literally flipped their shit and were like, I want this kid dead. I'll suck your dick if you punch this kid. Like some I think it was an SNL actress, whatever they call them when they do that stuff. It was a picture because he's standing there smirking, and there's just an Indian dude there, and the Indian dude looks sad because, and again, with him, it turns out he's another guy who kind of made the situation halfway up, where he's like, I'm a veteran. And they're like, you would have been 12 when it was combat. And he's like, well, maybe I was just in the Marines a little bit. But yeah, it's like
funny.
It's because people take a picture. The same thing with you always. Again, I don't know if you see these, but there's always these pictures of like European politicians or Trudeau in Canada reacting to Donald Trump, or and they'll compare it to like how they reacted to Obama, and they're like, they showed Obama reverence, but they knew that he was a friend, and they act like Trump is a child, and they always hold their hands, and then it's like it's a picture from 1 second. From 1 second of one thing,
right.
It's not okay. I'll use it right again. It's not indicative. Jesus, I messed up. It's not indicative of an actual story. It's not a correct. It's not even an attempt anymore at representing the story. People just go, what can we get the best picture for? Actually, as an aside, you might not look up popular culture. Have you watched any of the new South Park episodes?
No, but I do. I started at the very beginning, because I rarely watch South Park, growing up or back in the day. So about a year ago, I started from the beginning, and I wanted to watch it all the way straight through. So I think I'm at like season 11, and I've been, I kind of dropped off for a few months, but anyway. So what about the new episodes?
Well, just they kind of do something with this where they're doing Columbus Day, and for whatever reason, Randy, the Stan's dad, has just always dressed up as Columbus before, like at every single party. And at first he's like, oh, no, I only did that time. They're like, but Randy, you did it at this kid's birthday party too. He's like, what's wrong with being so stoked on Columbus? Everybody's making Columbus terrible. And then, so he hires then a Native American guy and he kisses him, and he kisses him in front of people, and he like makes out with, no, that's not what I'm sorry. he has the DNA people come to his house, and then he runs out back where he has this Indian guy waiting. He makes out with them. It shows them just like tonguing each other for like a minute, and he runs back in, gets it swabbed, and then the Indian guy falls in love with him, and then comes back to the house and is like, Randy, I've never felt anything like this before. You awakened a spirit. And then Randy's like, get out of here. I don't need you here. Like and the people are going to come back and then do another test or something like that. So he's trying to get him out, but he was trying to throw out his Columbus stuff. So he's kicking the guy out of his house. And then someone just takes a picture and he's like, well, it does look bad, and it is bad, but it doesn't look bad the way you think it looks bad. And I mean, again, that's another thing where it's true with, you see these pictures of politicians like talking and people like, this is terrible because they look like they're sad with each other, or they feel uncomfortable. And I'm like, no, this is terrible because just these people are running things and are just like, well, actually what we need to do is increase these taxes just a little bit.
Yeah, man. I don't know what the best like accidental like snapshot moment of my life has ever been. It's got to be some
I
good
know
ones.
what mine is.
All right, hit me.
I absolutely know what mine is. If someone could have taken a picture in that moment, although if they'd taken the picture in the moment, it would have been child pornography, I believe, because I was like,
hold on. Is this the story with the bread?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I forget if I feel like I have told this on here before, but I think I was like 15.
Oh, maybe. It's a great story, though. Twitch doesn't know anything about it, so here it is.
Also, you have to realize part of the reason why it made sense in my head to do this when it happened was because I am physically male, but my pecs have decided that they kind of identify as female. So I do have like some juicy tits, and especially when I was younger and a little bit chunkier, I definitely did. So I get back from soccer practice being the little half fat kid I was super, super tired. I'm eating things before I get in the shower. This is at my grandparents, so they have a shower in the basement. At the same time, they're having somebody work on their roof. I go into the bathroom. They have a sliding, like an accordion, plastic door that just goes across, and the shower is very touchy, so you have to fuck around with the handles a lot to get it at a real temperature. So I'm doing that. I'm going, no, it's too hot. It's too cold. It's too hot. It's too cold. I've stripped. I'm naked. Now, again, I have to go back in this story. I got a loaf of bread out of the freezer because, being a good grandson, my grandmother asked me, and I was like, oh, I'll take it into the bathroom near the shower so the steam can help defrost it. So I go to, again, the water has just gotten heated up, so I pick up the bread. Oh, I'll see how melted it is, whatever. The accordion door slides open. I hear I can't do the noise, the slapping, and I turn around. There's a roofer just standing looking at my little 15-year-old dick, which I doubt I had a very good hang at that point. I'm holding a loaf of bread, again, naked, but instead of covering my 15-year-old dick, I decide to cover my tits with the bread, and he slams the door shut. No, he goes, oh, and slams the door shut. And then I later, like 2 hours later, was like, hey, man who saw my dick, I had that loaf of bread because I was trying to defrost, and he was like, oh, I didn't even see the loaf of bread, man. So who knows if he was being truthful about that. Hopefully he was. I hope. It would almost make me feel better if he was just like, so like, oh, that's a giant dick for a 15-year-old, but I don't think that's what it was.
There you go, kids. We got NY Cartoons and Trust Tay in the chat. Long time no see, Tay, but welcome to the show. They're on YouTube. If you want free troll coin, you got to head over to Twitch. We'll go ahead and rain some golden showers. Trust Tay says, of course, this is the topic when I swing by. Tim's little baby nude dick.
I didn't say a little baby. I said comparably. I've grown since, ma'am.
Yeah. So, hey, for anyone that's joining us, we've been saying this for a few weeks now. We're just hanging out. We'll chat about whatever. We might still touch on Bitcoin. We might play some games later. Who knows? But yeah, you're right. Topics do happen, including Tim's microscopic dick. It's
dare
real,
you?
So.
It's called a micro penis. There's a word for it, and I don't appreciate not using the correct one. I'm part of a Reddit and I'm a moderator on a very big forum.
Oh, wait, seriously?
Yep,
I
it's
would tell me
called
all about these experiences.
Living with
Who?
Micro Dicks. It's mostly just about finding
Oh.
underwear that makes you feel like you're still have something down there. It's like super tight jock straps.
I'm pretty sure you're not serious, but
No,
you're.
no. That would be a weird way to just be like, yeah, no, but Daniel, I've really been thinking, because it's not like I wouldn't just randomly pick that up like a week over, just be like, you know what, I am bothered by my small dick. That would have to be a lifelong obsession.
By the way, while we're streaming to millions of viewers, I wanted to let you know
I have a dick that disappoints even myself.
Have you heard of that new battle royale game called Apex Legends?
I have, yeah, but mostly just because I don't know, people
So
are just
speaking
bothered
of
by
small
something.
dick,
But yeah,
in that game, I feel like I have a really small dick because I've played like 10 or 15 rounds and I don't have a single kill yet.
oh, I get that, yeah.
So the question is, like, on the one hand, it makes me hate the game, but on the other hand, it's like, all right, I got to do it. I got to figure this game out. I've got to show this game that I am better than this game, and that my dick is bigger than everyone else's dick in this game. So,
Small dick forums approve this message.
no, seriously, Trust Tay, it's just trolling. I mean, not trolling. We're just hanging out. We're just chatting. Oh, but we are giving away troll coin in the Twitch chat. This is simulcasting to Twitch. So it's twitch.tv/dbrowndan, all one word, dbrowndan. That's our Twitch account for now till we figure it out. Then we might make a real one. Who knows? But yeah, free troll coin over there. And yeah, so I've been playing Apex Legends some, and I've been sucking at it, and it's been making me angry, but also been like, raging me up, getting me ready to pound some noobs here. So,
Well, yeah, I get almost like not sad but disappointed in myself whenever I
yeah,
find like after a part of a video game where I'm like, why is my heart pounding? I'm like, I cared that much that I was like, no, I'm
no,
gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die.
that's not where I thought you were gonna go with that. I thought you were gonna say that if you suck at a video game, which happens to me in 99% of video games, then you get like sad and depressed and you feel like crap. And that happens to me. Like,
No,
I suck at Rocket League. I mean, I still play it, but I can barely even touch the ball. And my friends think it's hilarious when I'm on their team. And, it's like, give me a break, guys. I'm just human, I
guys, leave
mean,
me alone. I'm only human. That's a song, I think, or something like that.
it sounded like a
No,
song.
there's some. Yeah, I know.
No,
I don't need you.
it's are you human? Are we human? Or are we dancer? All right, hey, we got 3
What?
people on Twitch,
What?
so here comes a golden shower. It's
He's bouncing because he's excited, folks.
yeah, what song is that? It's called Human by the Decemberists, I believe.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I think I was talking about I was talking about some song that plays on like alternative stations, or at least did in the summer.
Human. What's the snippet? We'll crowdsource this to all of our viewers. And
Oh,
I did just rain some troll coin. It says
Daniel's
on
making it
7
rain.
chatters, so I'm not quite sure how the bot works if it picks up chatters from
Yeah.
past streams.
Does it
But
evenly distribute the golden shower? I don't want certain people to be getting more.
I believe it evenly distributes it. I don't know.
Okay. Okay, good. I want everybody to get their fill. Fuck, it's I don't it sounds like the guy from in Hosier or something like that, but I'm only human after all. I'm
Well, all
only
right.
human. I fell so small. Don't put the
That's
blame
I
on me.
believe I could be. Oh, the Killers. The Killers do the human song.
The Killers?
But no, not the one you're singing is not the Killers. The one I was singing was the Killers.
Like the
But
Mr. Brightside Killers? Is that who that is?
no, sure, yeah, probably, yeah.
Okay,
But
yeah, she just said the Killers.
that's what oh my
I
gosh,
said
man.
trust aided. I was congratulating her. I'm sorry. Continue.
All I was gonna say is that that song is, I think, older than just this summer. I want to say that song is probably like 2, 3, 4 years old, but that's also just a guess. I have no clue because what do I know about pop culture?
I believe you're right.
Do you like Cardi B?
Not particularly, no.
Man, I heard a great one from what's his face, Jimmy Fallon, through Alexa. You can ask Alexa to tell you to joke to tell you a joke, and she passes it off to Jimmy Fallon, and he goes, "What's the most famous kind of bee?
Ew.
The
No.
Cardi B."
Oh,
Ha!
I wonder how.
Ha!
I will guarantee that Daniel's already used that joke 5 times with the people around.
No, I seriously haven't. I know, like I know I have terrible humor, and I still have not ever used that joke, other than to tell that story about how dumb that joke is.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I
You
know,
didn't have to
I
get that
that is
real so quickly.
no,
How dare you insinuate something like that, sir?
I know, but I am serious. Like I am not touching that joke with a 50-foot pole. I mean, it's just not happening. So I mean, I like Jimmy Fallon. I that joke. What? Like, it's worse than bad. It's like it's not like a dad joke where it's kind of funny but kind of dumb. It's like what? What?
No, it's
Seriously? Like
just a popular culture reference. That's all it is. I mean, I
exactly.
hate Jimmy Fallon all the time, but yeah, I mean that is especially bad.
Yeah. Rough stuff.
Rough
Rough
stuff.
stuff. So what tell me about a point in your life or a pop culture event in your life where you were like all over it. Like you had to you actually did pay attention, some person or
Oh,
some event. I don't know. There were times when I mean video games like I'm into I'm kind you know I played a little Fortnite because it's super popular. I played plenty of Call of Duty back in my day when it was super popular.
yeah.
Like
Are you meaning like like following a video game like that, or do you?
yeah,
Because I'm trying
yeah,
to
like
think of like the last time
well,
I
not just
really
a game though. Like anything. It could
anything.
be an artist that was you just you kept up with every single thing they did, or yeah, I don't know anything.
Yeah, I mean, I've
Anything
done
in
that
pop
with a.
culture. It could be a politician, maybe if you wanna share those regrets from your. I remember in fourth grade, like I went to a freaking Bush rally because
I didn't know
Bush,
you went
you
to.
know.
No, I remember doing like making signs in school, and then we went to a Christian school, so the vote was like 98% for Bush against Kerry because Kerry was like I don't know. Kerry said what Obama said later about them being Bible thumping people in Pennsylvania. But so that didn't help anybody or didn't help them in that election. I went pretty heavy in on Ron. I mean, heavy in for me is different though. Like heavy in for
No,
somebody
Ron
might be.
Paul doesn't count as pop culture. Way too niche for
Oh
pop
well, that I
culture.
mean that takes away most of the music then because I've been like, there's
Yeah,
been a couple
that's what I'm
bands where
saying.
I've followed quite a bit and like I try to buy merch to support or
No,
whatever.
I know exactly what you're saying, but I'm saying those don't
Yeah,
count. I know you
yeah.
follow plenty of bands and love plenty of bands, but I'm saying when you hardcore fell for the marketing straight into pop culture,
Oh,
like I did that. I remember it was a video game called The Conduit for the Wii. And I remember watching like YouTube videos of like interviews with the developers before it came out. And I was like, I would tell all my friends like 12 times a day, like, yeah, they made this whole new engine for a shooter engine for the Wii. And it's designed specifically for the Wii because they wanted to make just like this perfect Wii shooter. I can't wait for it to come out. I'm so excited. Like I fell for that one hard. It was a pretty bad game too. Not really.
well,
It worked. It was a good game. It was it was same as any other game, which is for a shooter. If a shooter can match an average video game on the Wii, like that
yeah.
is pretty freaking good. But still, it didn't go anywhere.
I mean, I have another video game. I pre-ordered this back when I just had a PlayStation 2. If anybody played the original Mercenaries game, or yeah, I think it was Mercenaries. Playground Destruction was the original. The sequel was coming out, and they were all like, "Oh yeah, the PS2 will be just the same. Will just be a little bit downgraded graphics and everything." So I um, what wait, what was that called? What was it? What's the word for like
But
reserving a copy?
pre-order.
Pre-order, yeah, like 'cause I haven't done that in so long. I could like, but yeah,
Same.
I pre-ordered a copy for that, and it came, and it was the PS2 was nothing like it. But before that, I was on the forums. That was actually the first place I started to write. Was on the forum, and I think it was between my 10th and 11th grade of high school, and they had like forums just dedicated to the movie to the game, so they'd have like
What
videos or
game was
discussion.
it? I was
It was
in the chat a bit.
Mercenaries 2. Mercenaries
All
2 is the
right.
one that I pre-ordered. Uh, but they also had like a creative writing section on that, and I did some like weird like
Those were good days. I started writing about the same time with you. Friggin' Tryon, getting rich, you
oh
know.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, my actually try on like you still at least made some kind of money on really anything you put out. Some of the other places was a little bit spotty, but try on like I could just put up. That was that was the first place I put up like a full story on the forums. I did like a my own thread thing that had like a decent amount of people following me. It wasn't good. It was some like it was a rip off of like Red Dawn, if you know what that is, just put in like regular or in like more modern times. But Tryon was nice because that was I could put up like the first like I took like hours writing in a notebook, and now I'm like it was probably 2,000 pages maybe, and I was like, this is so long. This is amazing. And it was just a Saw ripoff.
Did you just say you literally wrote 2,000 pages?
No, 2,000 words, I said.
Oh,
At least
geez, I
that's what I
thought you
meant to
said
say.
pages. I was
No,
like,
not 2,000
holy
pages.
balls.
No, I didn't have it was in pencil too. That was how unprepared I was. It was like
I
yeah.
what were we saying before that? Oh, you were talking about that video game and how that got
Yeah.
you into writing.
And
The
disappointing.
one, oh,
Yeah.
the best example I just remembered, without a doubt, the best example of pop culture that I fell for, and I don't regret it at all. I still love it. I've said this a ton on the show, like, and to my friends, I usually say, like, I hate fanboys. I hate when people are obsessed with Apple and they have to watch every event and buy everything. I hate when people are obsessed with Star Wars and they have to watch every movie the day it comes out, or whatever it is. Despite the fact that I hate fanboys, despite the fact that I can't stand marketing, despite the fact that I try to avoid pop culture at all costs, I still absolutely and unregrettably love Lord of the Rings, and I will watch all the movies multiple times. I will watch all 8 hours of special features for each movie, including The Hobbit. Even though I know The Hobbit is pretty crappy compared to Lord of the Rings, I still I'm a fanboy. I can't resist. I grew up with it. I loved
Yeah.
every bit
No.
of it, and I just I'm not gonna spend $40 on a Gandalf figurine, but I might spend $15 on a knockoff T-shirt from China. So, there's that, and I will pre-order the movies. So
Yeah,
that's my best
I'm
example.
yeah, I'm trying to think of like one that wasn't like the Lord of like when I was real young and I was like, oh, I'll just buy t-shirts of everything. I don't want a normal t-shirt. I want to look like I'm 12 forever. So I just buy like band t-shirts or libertarian t-shirts or Bitcoin t-shirts. But again,
Hey,
there's like
peace out, Tay. Tay says she loves Mirror's Edge, and Lord of the Rings is all-time best, especially if you speak Elven, which I think would actually be called Elvish, but same thing. What'd you say, Tim? Peace out. We'll see. Oh, she says she'll listen later, so thanks a lot.
I see it. Hey, thanks.
What were you saying, Tim?
Um I think just that like the normally if I do go
Holy
like
cow, we have 8 viewers on Twitch, guys. A reminder that there's free troll coin in the Twitch chat. If I get a few people saying hi and asking a question, I'm going to drop another golden shower. So get ready.
oh, well, I was about to type something, but I don't want to set you off. You also keep screaming at me every
I've
single time.
interrupted you like
What do you
12
want?
times, Tim. So this is a great stream.
What?
But now he's getting beat up by his roommate.
Just
Watch
charge
this.
your own
Watch
fucking
this.
battery.
You see Tim's nose? It's about to be broken.
I'm sorry, I'm dealing with someone who can't clean things
I was excited
for himself.
for that.
What?
I was really excited. I thought your nose was about to crack.
No, My nose. My nose.
Yeah, I thought your roommate was about to crack your nose.
Oh no, my roommate would break his fist if he cracked me in the nose, and it has nothing to do with the strength of my face. It just has to do with his inability to do anything physical. I don't know. I'm being a
Hey,
little
speaking of
unnecessarily
nose
mean.
cracking, did you? I was listening to one of your podcasts. I'm way behind on all my podcasts, but one of yours you were saying about UFC and how it kind of revolutionized boxing. Have you watched any UFC lately? Do you ever watch Bellator?
I haven't watched anything recent. That's the other thing that stops me from jumping into most stuff is that I don't like paying for things. I'll watch.
Same.
I'll
MMA
watch.
streams. Just Google MMA streams. I'm not gonna. It's
Yeah. No,
it's
I know
a
you can because that's the only way I've watched it recently has been on that or like at a bar. I've never been a part of something that paid for one of them.
I'm not advocating anything illegal. I'm just saying you could Google MMA streams and research how it might be done. I'm not saying you should do anything
You could
wrong.
figure that out if you wanted to. Maybe check out my Tryout article. And we could go do that. No, I mean, yeah, that was probably the biggest thing because I did get into it like right when it was getting super popular. I had a subscription to Fight Magazine. I mean, I 2 years later started training a little bit, so it makes up for it a little bit. But again, I was on another forum. I was I again, I wasn't paying for fights, but that's what I did. I was on a forum and they had like fake little coins you could bet with. So I would like bet on fights and then check the results the next day before I went to church because it was always on a Saturday night and I'd wake up and I'd be like, what happened? What? Let me see if I lost all my money again.
Uh,
But yeah, that it was probably
that's
MMA,
fun.
probably some of boxing, just like reading stuff about that.
So do you keep up with the like? I'll watch it. I love watching it. I actually watch it most weekends, but I don't follow it other than the actual event. So I don't know any of the actual fighters. Like I don't recognize them. I don't know their names. I don't know their histories. I don't know their past fights. Like I just watch it while it's live and maybe bet a little. Like so where was I going with that? I was going to ask if you
I think you
Oh
were
yeah, I was
asking
going to
about
ask if you did at the time or how much you still like follow it much any of the fighters, whatever. Like
participants.
yeah.
No, I definitely followed it quite a bit more. I followed it pretty closely. I knew most of the guys who were in the UFC at least. I would watch Bellator when I got a chance. There was this one thing that used to play on FSN. Well, I'm not sure if it was then at that point, but it's it's a sports station. It was called International Fight League, and they fought inside a ring, but they had like teams. They didn't all fight at the same time, but they had like teams that would all go in consecutive matches against each other. So they'd have like lightweights, middleweights, heavyweights, and they'd come from like a city. But I watched Bellator a lot again with that Fight magazine. I would read about a lot of guys that were coming up either in Bellator. I used to have a Pride. That's probably why I quit watching it that or a lot was I would watch like old Pride fights and I just be like, this is not a lot. It's just more satisfying to see somebody like kick somebody in the head on the ground. It's just like these people are doing this. This is crazy. Or like a 10-minute first round and these guys don't die. That's more interesting to me than the 5 minutes of two
Yeah,
guys.
Pride
Like,
that one had like hardly any rules.
yeah,
Was
they
the
were like,
idea.
we're not going to test for steroids because half the tournaments were open weight, Daniel. So you have 180-pound guys fighting 250, which is insane. There's no elbows on the ground, but you can throw a knee to somebody's head on the ground. You could just rear up, throw a knee. It's just like,
That's
what?
how man, like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks, I lost a big one because of a knee to the head. He was
Yeah.
disqualified. Like
Well,
it was
okay. Yeah.
I don't remember who. I wish I could remember names. That would make all this make way more sense. But still, I was pretty upset. Korean Zombie. Did we ever talk about that fight? Did you
I
watch it?
you've mentioned him before because you like for whatever I liked him a lot when I think he was in the WEC because the UFC used to not have as big of a lighter weight, and then the WEC kind of moved into that. The WEC was
Okay,
on Versus. I remember that with like but it was always like real light guys. What were you gonna say?
my frick. My ranking in the UFC, my ranking of favorite people. I don't keep track of many of them or follow any of the fighters, but my ranking of everyone involved with the UFC goes Joe Rogan, Herb Dean, Bruce Buffer, Korean Zombie. So those are the four people I know. But
I
no, that Korean Zombie's last fight made me so mad because it went the distance, main event, 5 rounds, and well, pretty much went the distance. There was about 10 seconds left. They were both exhausted. And I would look it up, but I probably copyright crap or whatever would screw up our stream. But they it was like the last 10 seconds, and whoever his opponent was, I don't even know, was like they were both exhausted. We knew Korean Zombie had the decision, and he was just like raising his arms, like both of them like cheering, like we're done. Like the crowd was cheering. He was just like raising his arms in the last 10 seconds, just like, all right, we're both dead. This is it. And then out of nowhere, like in like the last 5 seconds, there's like one more flurry, and he just like freaking gets an elbow to the edge to the side of his head, and Korean Zombie's just totally KO'd with literally a second to go. And it just pissed me off the way that he just like gave up on the fight and then like just had this one more random flurry to screw it
that
all up.
that stuff, yeah, I do kind of get where that almost ruined it for me a little bit just after watching it, where it was like I could follow it. Also, it never did have that kind of like I was super into Pittsburgh sports when I was younger, but you don't really
Well,
have
there
that
you
with a
go. There's
fighter.
one where you fell for the marketing.
Yeah, but I quit that when I was like 15. I said I
I
quit
don't
it
care
like a
how old
drug.
you are. I just wanted a story. Jeez.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said something about the age before, and you didn't say nothing. Um, but yes, you didn't have that like close of a fighter to follow. It's harder to like to follow one closely like that. But yeah, just the kind of randomness of it, where yeah, it makes it fun as a sport, but the randomness of it, where like some guy can dominate the entire fight, and then just kind of randomly there's because getting knocked out has nothing to do with being tough or whatever. It's just if your brain moves a certain way.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but or a wrestler could just, and this used to be more of a problem when guys didn't have as much of a ground defense, but when a wrestler would just smother somebody for 3 rounds or 5 rounds. It was worse if it was 5 rounds because then you have to sit through more of it. And it's like the whole time was just him holding somebody on the ground, not actually doing submissions. But that's kind of going away just as guys like everybody just does jiu-jitsu now too.
I
Yeah.
I agree. Like there's definitely luck involved. Like just last week, the main event was it lasted like 15 seconds because he fell on his knee wrong and it just kind of blew out. Like, yeah, there is that kind of luck involved, but I want to say it's way less than like in football. Like, I mean, there's still plenty of I'm not trying to say there's no skill in football. Of course there's skill in football. But what I'm trying to say is there still is a ton of skill in the UFC. Like
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
luck
No.
can happen, but it is compared to other sports, it is so raw. It is so like fend for yourself, like just do anything and everything you can to survive. And I mean there are some rules, I know, but it's like it is pretty close to just like this is it. Just there is no luck. It just fight it out. Do the absolute best you can. And yeah, there's some luck, but just you got to give it your all, or you're not gonna go anywhere.
Yeah, no, I
That's
wasn't
probably
trying
the
to say
main
that.
thing I'm
Yeah.
saying. Is like it takes an incredible amount of effort to even get into a fight, let alone win it.
Oh no, I don't respect baseball players at all. I have no respect for baseball players because Okay, you learned, you spent more time swinging a bat than me, and then you put steroids in your arms. That's all you really needed. Instead of like you're like, yeah, professional fighting, just with the weight cutting they do is
Yeah.
difficult to imagine doing enough. But I mean, this is an aside thing, but if anybody else has seen these, send me videos, because I also haven't watched it that much. But there's bare knuckle fighting there that's getting bigger.
Have
Where
you ever
it's just,
seen X Arm?
yes, yeah, the one, yeah, the
uh,
arm wrestling slash MMA, where they're just
yeah,
like
yeah,
they're
yeah.
just punching each other
That
from
was
2 feet
still
away.
wild.
They're just
Yeah.
chained. Yeah, but no, the
Yeah.
bare knuckle is like a little bit more of a legitimate sport. And if anybody knows older UFC or like the beginning stuff, Boss Rutan, who did a lot of commentating for Pride and was Savat, no, Pancrase, like kind of early style MMA when they didn't have gloves, and he kind of started the hitting someone with the palm of your hand, because you can't, like, if you've ever punched somebody without gloves on, it's one, easy to break your hand if you don't punch in the right way, and then also your wrist goes, especially if you hit somebody in the skull, your wrist or your hand is going to break more likely, and you're going to do anything to anybody. So he started the thing of striking with like the palm of the hand, so it's more of like a slap. You take somebody down, so you submit them. But the bare knuckle boxing, the bare knuckle fighting, is they just wrap the wrists, and then obviously, like, it's a little bit more entertaining to me, at least, then, because you can't have guys just tee off with just a straight, hard as you can shot, because you're going to risk doing something to your own hand. You can't punch somebody even with gloves on and wraps. The wraps on your wrists are the big thing, where they can, and I only know this from going like with my team where they had somebody fighting, like they wrap your hands till they feel like a brick, and you can punch like a wall without feeling anything, because it's so wrapped, it's so padded with all the tape, that you can't do that with that. So you kind of have to be a little bit smarter. I imagine not as many knockouts happen, which those are the most exciting. That's what actually makes money. But I'm kind of interested to see what they do. Again, if you know older MMA, Chris Lieben, one of the first guys on the, or the guy on the, one of the guys on the first season of The Ultimate Fighter, is one of the big guys involved with that. Apparently he's beat his Suboxone addiction or whatever it was. Now he's going to beat me up.
So I have a couple questions. First thing is what makes, okay, what's holding you back? I think you said you haven't watched much UFC lately. You said it was mainly because you don't want to pay for anything. Other than that, like what's holding you back from watching? Is it just no longer interesting? And if so, why? Like what's holding you back from being involved?
Yeah, it's probably just that it's not as interesting to me. I don't, it seems, it, if I had somebody else that didn't annoy me while they watched it, because you watch it with anybody, and most of the time people's reactions are just annoying. Like, oh, he got him. I'm like, no, he didn't. It's not. He didn't even hit him. What are you talking about? Because nobody has any idea what's going on. If they don't follow it regularly, and then as soon as it's on the ground, they're like, whoa, what's going on? And then because I get why because it is like the purest form of a sport, where it's just it's like, okay, either you're going to submit to me, or I'm going to submit to you, or both are just going to beat each other until a dinger goes off, and that's going to happen. We're not going to try to drag a ball across and then kind of consequentially hit each other. We're not going to throw a puck around.
So
We're just going to.
That's a pretty good answer that to lead me to my follow-up question, which is then like what does make, whether it's a type of fighting that you think would be way better, whether it's a sport that you think would be way better, or even something completely different that could entertain you in some other way, what then would you consider to be like way more interesting or
A replacement
entertaining?
for it. I would, just my preference, if I was going to pick a different thing to watch, like a sport, Especially go-to would just be like Muay Thai style kickboxing, not Western point style, but the art of the 8 limbs, whatever bullshit, where you just it's all the striking from MMA, plus because there's no ground game, there's tosses, there's things involved with that. I would probably prefer to watch something just straight like that, just
What's
like
it? What's it called
Muay
again?
Thai. It's
Muay
the
Thai.
main striking for most MMA guys do. It's if there's an MMA school, it's most likely teaching Muay Thai if they're actually serious about training people. But it's the national sport of Thailand, and it's Thai boxing, where it's just gloves, and they just those are the guys where you can look up videos and they're kicking trees down with their shins.
Ugh.
Um, but I mean, right now, I don't like doing the separate recording that I'm doing, trying to get some kind of an audio book together. I don't like doing it, but I almost feel like it's good to feel like I need to get something done. But if I
Wait, so you've
wanted,
been recording?
yeah, I'm trying to record one of the short story, one of the longer ones. It'd
All right.
probably be about an hour long. I'd like to probably put it out in 2, but I might put it out in 1. I'm not exactly sure how I want to send it out yet, but I'm about a halfway through on like the first recording. But if like just something to do, like if I go like have my car, like I did this when I had my tire repair because I had a nail in it, and I was like, well, what am I going to do for an hour if it takes them that long? I just took my laptop and just tried to write. I've gotten to the point where I feel confident in it enough that I enjoy just kind of the act of writing. I hate editing. I hate whether that's like grammar stuff or it's me trying to rethink the words. I don't like second guessing that stuff as much. But if I can kind of
Yeah.
just get into a zone and just write, I do enjoy that probably more than anything else. I
Oh.
don't like hanging out with people. I mean, I never really have, but like people who aren't friends with me from high school, people will be like, well, why don't you, like, what's up, man? You haven't texted me in a day. And it's like, why would I didn't have anything to talk to you about? What? Like, what's wrong? And I'm like, well, I just don't talk to people that much.
Well, I'm not a expert on grammar either, but I could whenever you send me show notes, I make a few tweaks to try to clean it up some.
How
So
dare you?
I could do a
Those
first pass if
those
you ever need it.
my expressions are completely free will, and they are an artistic form in and of themselves.
I believe you. I don't have any doubt. I just have a better artistic form than you do.
I hear some sarcasm. I don't know. What just let me ask a question first. Have you read anything recently? Even like
Um,
audiobook, whatever.
I mean, like, no, I read what's it called? One Day. It's just like a chick novel about these people that fall in love. My wife was reading it, so I read it with her. That's probably the only book I've read in, geez, I mean, years.
So wait, what was it? Was it supposed to be? I mean, it was a novel length.
Yeah, it was a novel fiction.
Okay.
It was just like a love story, like set in. It was like the whole premise is just that it it's like between like the 80s and the aughts, but every chapter was just a single day out of the year. Uh,
Okay. I was about to
and
ask
then
if it was just one day. I
no,
was like,
yeah,
well, that's a little bit much.
right. So it would, it would do the exact same day every year, all the way through those 20 years or whatever. That that's it. I mean, it was a good book. It was entertaining and interesting, but I mean, it was just a love story, kind of with an interesting format. That's it. That's all I've really read lately.
See, that's what I need to do. I need to do a love story next, but it's going to be set inside of a time machine that goes to own. I don't know. Never mind. This is why I can't come up
You
with
mean
ideas.
Doctor Who?
Yes, I'm going to have a Doctor Who / love story where they only go to periods in time where carnivals are happening with
They
that end.
they one of the I like Doctor Who. I've seen. No, I wish I watched it like straight in order and like the whole storyline, but I've just seen episodes here and there, and I really like it. But one of the weirdest things I remember was because of all the time stuff and time travel and whatever. There was a love story, or at least a relationship, whatever, where they were like they were like basically travel like they weren't like together all the time. They would just bump into each other here and there, but they were traveling in like opposite directions in time. So every time they met, like they would like one person would remember things that the other person wouldn't remember. And then when they met later on, the other person would remember it because they were just like going in opposite directions as they bumped into each other.
This sounds like
Obviously,
some.
it makes no sense. It's not like physically possible, so it's confusing to even think about. But that's the whole point. Like they don't care about making it make sense. That's why they always say just like, "Oh, timey wimey." I don't know how to explain it. And
I think
I
that
like
that's part
Doctor
of
Who
the.
though.
I think that's part of the thing with Doctor Who, though, is it's supposed to be like whimsical. Maybe
Yeah,
that's what you
totally,
exactly. Yeah.
totally. Which I would almost rather that compared to like a hardcore like sci-fi that tried to explain everything. Like no matter how
Yeah.
well you
No,
try to explain time travel, like sorry, it's still not going to make sense to anyone. So just
I've kind of gone back on the newer kinds of not that I've watched any of the real new ones, but even like the Dark Knight, I've kind of gone back on. Not that I can't say they're good movies, but just as far as me enjoying them, I'm just like this is still a kids movie, and you're making this like it's I'm Batman. Who are you? Swear, I swear to God, swear to me. And it's like, dude, what is this? What are we
that
doing here, guys? This is Batman. He beats up people, and the Joker goes boo. That's all.
was pretty good though. Swear to me.
Swear to me.
Yeah, that's good. You got to give one of your characters that voice.
Oh yeah. Well,
I
I need
still have
to.
this voice actor's dream. I
I,
realized we've done this on the show before. Remember when you told me to make the
yeah.
like
The
15-year-old
no, it was like
tobacco
a
addict voice?
British child with like polio or something. I don't know. It
Well,
had some
all I
kind.
was gonna
Oh yeah,
say
smoker.
is
Yeah, you're right.
I still have this voice actor's dream, but I realized that I have to go the other direction. If you describe this character to me like in perfect detail, I still am going to screw up the voice. I don't know, like what do I know? I got to go the other direction. I can make a voice. I can make all kinds of voices. I just have to figure out who they are and create the character from the voice.
This sounds like
So
a whole ordeal of terrible things that come out. I just have to give a name to the voices in my head, and then they'll be real, and they'll love me like nobody ever has.
yeah,
And then I'll
that's
get a Skype call from Daniel. He'll be like, "Daniel's not here right now." No, you'll do the kid from the show. Man, Danny's not here right now. Yeah, because you can say Danny too. Danny's not here right now, Mrs. Torrance.
I don't know who that is, but I
You've seen
believe
The
you.
Shining,
Man, yes, I love The Shining.
really?
It's been years though since I've seen it, but that is one of the ones I can never, ever, ever like. I can count like 5 or 8 times. I don't know where I'm like, I don't know why I can never remember the name of that movie. I'm like talking to someone. I'm like, the one with the redhead twins in the mansion in the woods, and Jack. Like, you know what I'm saying, right? I can never remember the name of that movie, but there it is. Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while though. I
No,
love
it's a
it. I
good
gotta.
movie. Yeah.
I was talking with my wife fairly recently, realizing that together we haven't seen any movies twice together. But then even just like myself, I was trying to think like I, I mean, when I was younger, like there were a few random movies that maybe I saw like 4 or 5 times, like Shrek or Indiana Jones. But in general, like there are not well, obviously besides Lord of the Rings, that's the exception in my life. But I cannot think of because people always have like multiple movies tend to they tend to have this big list of movies that they've seen so many times. They're obsessed with them. They,
Dude, you got to
if
watch
it's
it twice.
if it's a Christmas movie, they watch it every year or whatever. Like I got none. Like I said, like Shrek, Indiana Jones, and like Ocean's 11. That's like all I got. So yeah, The Shining I've only seen once, maybe twice, and that's over all time. Like, you ever seen The Dentist?
What?
Actually, I think
The
there's a couple
Dentist.
of them. Yeah,
I've seen the Dentist. Is that what
the
the one
movie.
with the
The
the guy
creep
goes
that just like
crazy,
loves
starts
watching people in pain.
what? Oh, no, I don't think
He's a
so.
dentist, and the whole movie is just about how he loves getting people into his dentist room and like watching them in pain.
I think I've heard of it at least.
I think there's a couple movies called
I
The Dentist.
Well, I think
I don't
the
know.
one I saw, it was like the guy was freaking out because I think his wife was cheating on him, and then he like attacks somebody with like a tooth drill or
Maybe
yeah.
that's I think that's what I'm thinking of. I thought yeah, you're right. I
I think
thought
he
he
goes crazy.
enjoyed seeing yeah. I thought he enjoyed seeing people in pain, but you're right. He was like mad at this one guy. You're right. You're right.
I
Okay.
think he started
Well,
doing it to other people after, and then they were like, "Oh, we might as well make a series."
okay. Yeah. That's the one. That's the one though. Uh what about the dentist, The Shining? I am so bad at names, real names and movie names and whatever. The one with Hannibal Lecter.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yes, Silence of the Lambs. That one, I believe I've only seen that once in my life, but it made a pretty big impact because I
Did you
still
did you
claim to
watch
love that
that
movie.
with me at John's house?
Yes, I didn't know
Yeah, it
you
was
were
Sam.
there, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the one time I've ever seen it.
That that's the thing. I've watched that movie a bunch. I liked it. But the thing is, we watched that movie and then we watched Black Sheep,
Black
which was
Sheep,
like
yes,
like
yes.
a bunch of Scottish people fighting zombie sheep. So it was a strange dichotomy between the two.
I remember that as the first time in my life because, like I said, I haven't watched many movies. That was the first time in my life I ever considered myself having watched scary movies. Like,
Yeah.
like I said before that, like the worst thing was like Temple of Doom. Those were like
Oh, yeah.
the frick. What's it called? Oh my gosh,
Silence of the Lambs.
the silent. Oh my gosh, the Silence of the Lambs
Clarice.
was the first scary or horror movie that I have ever seen in my life. And where was I going with that? Oh, and then so I remember also when as soon as we finished watching both of those movies, we booted up Borderlands. And I remember just like, holy cow, this is so peaceful. Like I can just run around this world, shoot people if I want or not. Like this is like the best thing that's ever happened to me. I can just like do whatever I want. And I loved it. I was like, this is so chill.
Hannibal isn't eating people right now.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this.
Yeah. So that's that was fun. That's Tim and I. That's pretty much how we grew up.
That is, yes, no, just like, well, what is this movie? I don't know. It's scary. All right, let's shoot things.
Yeah.
Fine.
Let's just shoot some skags.
Shoot some skags, yeah. With some scatter guns.
Oh boy. Well, I don't know. What do you want to do, Tim? You want to play any Rocket League or chat about movies or anything?
Well, you didn't have anything about books. I was going to ask you like what books you've read, and then be like, well, what kind of what kind of what kind of mode in books, or what kind of point of view do you like the most? But that didn't work.
Well, I
Um,
know. I mean, I can go farther back. Like, I mean, I definitely have read plenty of books in my day. I,
what
geez, what?
Are you okay? What books did you read like separate from us in or separate from me in Mr. Stark's class? In the
Wait, you
literature
mean
one, in fantasy. We
yeah,
picked like a couple of the ones that we did. I
Black
picked like something that was 50 pages long.
Willows?
Yeah, Wind in the Willows, and then somebody else picked, or Tyler picked the Cimmerillion or something.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't finish. And yeah, no, I didn't think he would.
Nobody's ever finished the Silmarillion. Oh, jeez. I read The Black Cauldron, which is like from the Book of Three.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Did you read one of your Aragorn ones, or one of the Aragorn ones for part of it?
Yeah, I think so. Because
Okay.
it that was like the year it came out, so I was gonna read it anyway. Yeah. Those were good. Yeah. So if we're going farther back just to talk about things I've read that I didn't have to read for school, Aragon was, I fell for that. Yeah. Talking about falling for pop culture and the marketing, I fell for Aragon hard. Like originally it was going to be 3 books and like I pre-ordered the 3rd one. I'm like, yes. Then like you open it up and it's like, we decided to do 4 books. So
damn it. This will not be the end. No.
Yeah. I still love those books though. I mean, they're good. Like they're not the first one was written when he was 15 years old. So
I read the first 2, I think. They weren't bad.
Yeah, like they're not meant to be Lord of the Rings, like super deep out of this world. They're just like fun, interesting stories, like good, evil, dragons, elves. Which that Lord of the Rings was kind of the same way. Like Tolkien insists a lot, like this doesn't have to mean anything. I don't want it to be an allegory. This is just a story and a world like, that I made.
No, but it's World War One. Don't you see? All of this is World War One, and it's mechanization.
Yeah, he's like, I don't really care what you think it is. I just made this world, and I love it. So,
yeah. I mean, have you read any deeper fantasy than that? Like, there's a whole genre of just people that crank out 10 books to a series of dwarves, and they have like very specific magic setups. And
are you asking if I've read like those random countless series of 10 books?
Yeah.
Or are you asking if I've read something more serious than those?
No, I'm sorry. I'm just like, because Aragon seems like kind of like the tip of that kind of world where it was popular enough. It was kind of like that, like fantasy light almost. I was just asking, like, if I haven't, because I can't really tolerate them. They're too much.
One of them, this is Artemis Fowl. I loved Artemis Fowl.
Oh yeah.
It's obviously a completely different time period and a completely different type of fantasy, but it is fantasy. And I read most of them, but I think he's still writing those. There's an author called Robin Hobb. I think it's a girl. I don't actually know. But she wrote several books. I don't even remember what they're called. Like there's a couple trilogies that she wrote. The Fool's Errand. Anyway, so yeah, it's a similar just like fantasy. There's some magic involved, but it's definitely different than Lord of the Rings. There's some creatures involved, but it's definitely different than Lord of the Rings. It's just, the time period is like medieval type times, and it's just interesting stories and characters. Like I like those books. So that's probably the closest to what you're talking about, Tim. Like Artemis Fowl was like slightly above the type of books you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like it was a little more serious, a little more early on before they were just all cranked out. Robin Hobb, I'd like to think she's above that too, but it's still a similar, like she just did a trilogy and a trilogy and a trilogy of these fantasy-ish books. So
yeah, I mean, I have, whenever I first got my Kindle, and I still read them sometimes, like a horror pulp author that just kind of like he works at a factory and then just cranks out stuff at night. So it's kind of like the literary equivalent of just like a B horror movie that you'd see on like sci-fi, but like good enough because it doesn't have to rely on shitty CGI. It's just like
true.
There's always an overuse of words and how bad things smell. It's always the noxious odors.
Yeah, true. That is. it does get weird when you're reading a book. The one that I did read recently, I remember thinking that, like, the love story I was talking about one day, like, there were a few parts where it's like, I did not need to know the color of the walls. I'm sorry, but
It's very
like, I
important.
mean, I guess that's how writing works. Like, you're supposed to give all those details, but there were, and that's fine. Like 90% of the time, like they give you a ton of details, you understand the story, and it's great. But every once in a while, it's like, okay, that sentence just didn't need to be there. I'm sorry. But I don't know though. Like there's room to appreciate people like that, like who work at a factory and like still have time to enjoy creating something at the end of the day. Like that's
Yeah.
that's
No, yeah.
cool.
And it's almost I would think I'd like to think that it seems like because it's and also I'm sorry, I'm kind of stumbling over my words, but there's definitely like editorial mistakes in the book. So I think it is almost more just I'm just gonna write. We're not gonna mess around with it that much. I'm just gonna tell a story. It might get repetitive, but so do a lot of movies. If you're watching like a bunch of old horror movies, a bunch of old kung fu movies, there's some things that you kind of just have to tick the boxes for stuff, and it makes it an entertaining story, but you're also not normally watching a kung fu movie because you want a deep exploration of a man's sense of self or something like that. The same thing with these books. You're just, I just want a creepy story, an interesting monster, and people to die, and
Yeah.
I will be happy.
Didn't we? I think we tried to read this together. Some Kindle book about like a freaking Yeti demon or
Yes,
something.
yes. I Daniel, I quit with 2% left on the book because it was Vikings, and I'm tired of. I thought they escaped like 5 times. Although again, I've seen that's like another subsection of just horror stuff where it's just like, and then they were caught in the ice flow, and then the zombies came out, but who knew there was something worse than the zombie? And it's okay, whatever. They picked up a magic sword.
Ah, yeah, I don't think I made it 98%. I think I made it like 20%.
I think I picked it up later and was like, I'm gonna finish this. I have a couple books on there. There's another one called The Wendigo, which is just like a werewolf thing in the middle of New York, and it's like following a security guard around. I'm like, I just don't care about this guy. It's fine.
Can you imagine? There's people out there, just like the way we're picking up these books from these people we've never heard of, that they probably sell like 1,000 copies on Kindle, and that's, well, actually, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of them get their niches and sell tons, but some of them, they sell like 1,000 copies, which sounds like a lot, and they might make some money, but compared to like the millions of people using Amazon and Kindles and whatever, that's like nothing. And what I was going to say is that's also us, like just throwing this content out into the void, and like 1,000 people might listen to it, and some people are going to be like, I listened to 98% of that podcast, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. They started talking about freaking demon yetis, and I was done.
Demon. Yeah, no, as I'm saying and everything, and this is why I try not to go like normally my instinct would be like fantasy stupid, all these people just waste 10 books talking about nothing and describing magic. But then I'm like, that person sat there for quite a while, and they at least like I don't agree with the, oh, if somebody put effort into something that means it means something, but they at least do it correctly enough. They tell a story, and hey, if you're able to get people to pay you to just tell them a story, good on you. I can't really be against you. You're just like you're kind of, at least you're creating something. At least you're trying to rise out of just being a farmer, which is I guess what all of us were supposed to be originally.
Yeah, you don't, trust me, you do not want that.
Not want to be a
Trust me.
farmer.
Take it from somebody who knows. uh so on that note, I don't know, Tim. We're over an hour. We could wrap up or play some games. I'm What do you want? I'm up for games. I don't know if you are.
I mean, I'll play a game or two. I'm just gonna eat at some point, but I don't.
All
Yeah,
right,
no,
let's
I'll
just
play
get
a
one or
couple
two
games.
in. Just to see how we like the idea of doing both in an
No,
evening,
yeah, I'm
chatting it
definitely
up.
for even just to switch over. Yeah, just to figure out switching over the stuff.
Yeah, but here's the deal, YouTube. Like I said, I hate you. And so our
That's
stream is
me.
not configured to send any games to YouTube. So if you want to hang out with more games and more freaking Demon Yetis, you will have to jump over to Twitch. So if you want to find us there, go ahead and find us. I'm peacing out, which also means the podcast for the time being. This could change in the future, but for the time being, I'm taking the podcast from YouTube, which means the podcast is also wrapping up. Thanks for joining us, guys. Keep an eye, give us a follow on Twitch if you want to come in, get notified when we go on early, get those first few bonus minutes in, get that free troll coin from the chat, and then the extra gameplay at the end if that's how you decide to do things. I don't know, Tim. We are definitely still in a learning phase, but I'm proud of us for trying all this different stuff. I'm proud of us for trying, Twitch. I'm proud of us for trying gaming. I'm proud of us for trying simulcasting. I'm proud that I took the commitment to freaking wipe my computer and it made things better. I'm proud that we are trying just chatting on Twitch. So, we're still learning what works. A long way to go to get followers and decide, how we want to set up the website and the podcast feeds. But so far, I'm content. I'll say that I'm not like out of this world excited because everything's going great, but I'm content with the effort we're putting in at the moment. So, for whatever that's worth. All right, bye YouTube. We love you. Sort of. Less than Twitch though. Bye.
Oh.